Hello and welcome to the Corporate Cup presents the DAFA News podcast. And it's a very special day today because we have a new guest with us. We have Vikramjit Acharji all the way from Calcutta. And I would like to tell our viewers that he also is an avid podcaster. He runs his own channel called 0 to 90. Yes, as you would understand what that means, it basically is the timeline for a football match. And as you can see, Vikramjit is an avid Argentina fan, and I'm sure he must be looking forward to the World Cup as well. This supposedly being Messi's last World Cup. And
Hmm.
Vikramjit, a very, very warm welcome to the Dafa News podcast.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
So, we just wanted to sort of have a quick chat. Of course, we'll get into the football bit that is going to happen from Sunday, and I think the expectation this year is that about 5 billion people are going to watch it across the world. Even though it's happening in Qatar, there are restrictions in terms of
Hmm.
what you can or cannot do in that country. However, that's not going to dampen the spirits of the people who want to follow the game, especially after, this being Ronaldo's and Messi's last World Cup. I mean, expectedly. And not just that, a lot of legendary players would possibly have this as their last World Cup. Luka Modric, Thomas Muller, Manuel Neuer, just to name a few.
Hmm.
So
Definitely.
Before we jump into that, there was also another game of cricket that happened down under today between England and Australia. Before we dive deeply into the discussion about the Football World Cup, and we are going to discuss a couple of very important groups with some very important teams in them. A very exciting match against the current T20 World Champions and the current number one team, England, of course, favorites to win, and it was quite expected that they were put into bat by Australia, something that the English team doesn't really prefer because they prefer to chase. It was a 50 over match, and after a little bit of a stuttering start, a fascinating innings by David Malan.
Yes, he scored almost 150. He scored 134, 12 fours and 4 sixes. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way he held the innings together, I think it was he was having wickets falling at the other end all through, and it was very interesting to sort of see him get to that 130. However, that was not enough for the Australians because starting with David Warner
Hmm.
and the partnership between Travis Head, they put on 147, and then the second wicket partnership also lasted till 200. So I think
Right.
the match was won by then. Hap-
Sometimes, when you play an anchor role like David Malan did, sometimes the effort gets underappreciated. You know,
hap-
uh, the score was, I won't say a very big score put on by the England side. But when you play an anchor role, you have to keep the expectations of the players that are now coming after
Correct.
the fall of wickets. So I guess David Malan played well compared to the rest of his team because no one reached even half a century.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Also, if you see it, it was good to see Steve Smith getting back amongst the runs because he has been having a bit of
exactly.
a dry spell, and did have a bit of a dry spell in the T20 World Cup. Good to see him getting to an 80 and sort of seeing the team through to the end, and it was a good measured innings. It was not something
Mhm.
that he was playing rash shots. He paced the innings very well. He came in after Travis had got out, and he steadied the partnership with David Warner, and he carried the bat through the innings.
Right. Uh, Steve Smith, truth be told, is one of my favorite players.
Correct.
Um,
A
I would say
wonderful player.
rather than ODI and the T20 format, I enjoy him in the Test format very much. He's one
Yes,
of my favorite Test players.
absolutely.
After that sandpaper incident, he was having a bit of a troubling time. But when he came back with that double ton,
Correct.
after that, he was having a topsy turvy form regarding T20 wise also. But it is good to see that he got his 80 in this match,
Absolutely, and
beating the
I
world
like him
champion.
absolutely,
Yeah,
and I also like him quite a lot. And I was in our previous editions of the podcast. Some of our guests told us that you are expecting too much out of Steve Smith, and I said, he's a guy who's class. I mean, like they say in
exactly.
cricket and in football and in any game, form is temporary, class is
Temporary
permanent.
class is permanent. Absolutely.
And this is something which kind of sticks to Steve Smith, I think, very very well,
Exactly.
because he has demonstrated. Yes, that was an incident. I think it is tough for international cricketers and athletes to put those kind of controversial incidents behind them, but he did, and he came back strongly, as you rightly said, with the double ton. And I think it's great to see him back in the form, and a good start by Australia against the world champions.
Absolutely. Especially the world champions. Not few days have gone by.
Correct.
England won the T20 World Cup. They are in current red hot form, and Australia makes an upset. So I guess it's good for the Australian team's confidence and morale. They
Especially
will get a
when they
morale
could
boost.
not make it to the to the semifinals.
Exactly.
They were
Exactly.
out on another reason. So anyways, I think we jump into something which is more of a hot topic, like you said, in these times, and that's the tournament that is starting, the World Cup, FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar on this Sunday, with the first match between Qatar and Ecuador. We have been discussing, sort of the favorites, but since you and we have had our own set of predictions, but since you're joining us on this podcast, although we have discussed the group A to D in bit of detail previously, I just want to quickly touch upon your thoughts very briefly on the teams that you would want to see qualify from group A to D, and sort of then we discuss at length group E and F.
So as you are currently seeing that I'm wearing the Argentina jersey. So obviously from I want Argentina to win this cup, especially being this especially being Messi's last World Cup,
Correct.
probably. I'm
Correct.
hoping not, but I don't see Messi playing further because he will be 39 by then. So I don't
Yeah, I
think
think that is stretching it a bit too far. It is still stretching it today,
yes,
but then sometimes talent can take you some distance, which other
right,
times other people it cannot.
exactly. So from Group A, the thing is that I'm not sure previously before previous years what happened, but from 2006 onwards, the hosting nations have been qualifying for the round of 16. Always, 2006 Germany, 2010 South Africa, 2014 Brazil, 2018 Russia, and now 2022. So if that pattern goes along, Qatar may be qualifying from that group, and Ecuador and Senegal are both fast and very physical teams, both of them. But since Senegal would not be having Sadio Mane in the first game, and Ecuador not having Luis Diaz in their first game, it's a
Correct.
major blow for both of the teams. Netherlands being in the recent forms, they were very underperforming in the Euro as well. But since Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz, the key players of both the teams, are not available for the first match, Netherlands might be having that advantage over both of the teams. So I see Qatar and Netherlands qualifying for this for the Group A. Coming to Group B, it is a very interesting group. Like team nations like Iran. Okay, like so as
This
you
is the
might have
fifth or
seen,
sixth time they are playing the World Cup.
yeah,
Iran.
they started Iran, I guess, started from 2002. Hopefully, I'm not correct.
Yes,
I'm not sure entirely.
this is the
So
fifth consecutive World Cup they have played consistently. Yeah.
I have started watching them from as far as I remember, first watched them in 2014 against Argentina. They were in their group only. It is a very interesting group because like for teams like Iran, as you might have seen, Shakib Al Hasan also said that we have come here to cut
Cause
points and not
upsets.
win the World Cup. Yes. So maybe for teams like Iran, let's be realistic. They are not here to win the World Cup, and they also know that. So maybe they might be pulling off upsets against England also. You don't know. In this group, comparing to the rest of the three teams, England has the best squad because their third team is all better than Iran's first team.
True.
So, so I hope, and Wales have European experience.
Absolutely.
Gareth Bale's first World Cup. So
Correct.
I hope England and Wales would go, but I don't know. USA might be causing problems to England and Wales.
USA is the
So
youngest team in this World Cup with the average age of about
average of
25.4 years. So,
exactly.
that's some legs in there and some energy in there. So, that can
But
cause upsets. Although,
exactly, but
Pulisic hasn't been in great form, to be very honest, even for Chelsea.
in general, Chelsea hasn't been in great form after
Yes,
the Tom Graham Potter has been appointed as a manager.
right.
So, but England and Wales has European pedigree, which other
Correct.
two countries doesn't have. So it might help them to get a step ahead. But I don't think Wales has a chance further than round of 16. I guess England going through maybe semi-finals at least with the squad they have. They should, and
And the
I guess
kind of
England.
run-ins they might have if they win the group. That's also
Hmm,
important.
that's also important. Group C, obviously, I want
Group C, I
Argentina to
don't
win.
want to talk about the winner of the group. I want to know who is going to come second as per you.
See, Saudi Arabia is same as like Qatar only. Okay, they are here to cause upsets. Uh, there was a friendly game yesterday against UAE, Argentina,
Correct.
UAE, and Argentina beat them 5-0. So Mexico is a good team, decent team, hardworking team, physical team. Poland is also a bit technical team, so I hopefully
And they
Argentina
have
will qualify.
Lewandowski.
They will have Lewandowski as well. Um, I guess Argentina and Poland will qualify easily. They should qualify easily compared to the rest of them, Saudi Arabia and Mexico. And Group D, I guess Australia and Tunisia, or to be honest, doesn't stand a chance against France and Denmark. Especially Denmark playing the semi-finals in Euro 2020 and France being the world champions in 2018. So I guess
I
we
want to
should.
put this interesting thought in there. From 2010, the team that had won the World Cup has gone home in the first round. And you've had teams like Italy, you've had teams like Spain, you've had teams like Germany. So all going home in the first round. I mean, nobody expected. Everybody thought that the jinx would be broken with Germany. It was Germany of all teams, and 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 Japan of all teams did them in that match. So I'm just sort of like they say, playing the devil's advocate, and I've made this prediction that perhaps this jinx might continue. Everybody is saying that this jinx is going to break in this World Cup because it's France. So you really think that this jinx is going to be broken?
I think so. The group they are in, Denmark is their closest competitor. Tunisia and Australia doesn't stand the chance. So Australia might be a good nation, but footballing wise at least, but I don't think they stand. Tunisia doesn't stand the chance in it.
So even if it's a
France,
draw for France and two wins against them, they qualify with 7 points. But what if it's two draws for France against Australia and Denmark and a win against Tunisia with 5 points?
then it will be a moral victory, to say the least.
So that's what I'm saying. So the possibility still exists, especially when they're playing Denmark in their first match.
See, regarding World Cup, you cannot say anything against anyone. You never
Absolutely.
know when the table is gonna turn.
And we have
Because
seen Australia playing remarkable football. I remember that match against Holland. I think it was 2010 World Cup. Tim Cahill scored that goal, and then
okay,
they came back, and then they came back, and it was a remarkable match. So Australia has also surprised big teams before.
but I don't think they have the pedigree right now because France's squad depth is immense. Denmark's squad depth is immense, and all the players from both the teams, like France and Denmark, they play for top flight clubs. Players
Right.
from Australia, Tunisia doesn't. So going
It,
into the
it you
World
think
Cup,
it's too much of a expectation to expect them not to qualify.
I think so. They should with the squad they have,
Right.
but Kimpembe and Nkoku got injured recently, so they won't be playing
Yeah,
in the World Cup. But the return of Varane is a very big boost for them in
absolutely,
defensively. And
absolutely
Mbappe being in the current red hot form that he is,
correct.
France is. But France is missing also Kante and Pogba, which is a big loss for them.
In fact,
Uh,
you remember, in 2002 World Cup also France went back home early. I think the Didier Deschamps was still the captain at that point in time, and their coach, I think Amy Jacquet was the coach, if I'm not wrong, the guy who won the World Cup in '98 with
right.
France. So I still remember that disappointment. Uh, Only I think, and this has happened with all European teams. The only team to have broken that jinx was Brazil in 2006 when they went up to the quarterfinals and lost to Holland. So yes, I think if it actually breaks, it'll actually break a European jinx for almost 20 years. So I'm also hoping that a team like France qualifies because it'll be surprising to see Australia and Denmark qualify and France sort of taking the Air France bike from Qatar. Now coming to, of course, most of our predictions are in line. I think there isn't much of a difference. The only difference I would say is France in Group D, which I'm sort of, uh, uh, you know, the only reason for me to say is nothing but history. History might not
Background
repeat itself.
knowledge.
I mean, otherwise there is absolutely no reason for France to not qualify. It will be beyond anybody's rational thinking and logic to see that France does not qualify for this second round, for the round of 16. However, the only difference I have with you in my predictions is Qatar qualifying. I mean, I think yes, all the previous nations have qualified. Seeing South Africa qualifying 2010 was also a surprise. But I think for Qatar, having never played and the kind of, yes, they have played reasonably okay in Asia, but it's a bit of a stretch to see from that group, especially when you have Ecuador and Senegal. I mean, Mane will be coming back from the second match onwards. That's what we are hearing.
But that is the problem. In World Cup, every game matters. You never
Absolutely.
know when you're gonna get 3 points and you qualify.
Yeah, of course.
Qatar, the Asian champions, I think they do have a pedigree because the work rate of the Qatar players are very high. They
Correct.
press very high and they play moderately well, but I don't think Netherlands will be a tough opponent. Sorry, I'm sorry. For Netherlands, Qatar might not be a tough opponent, but Qatar, I guess, will have be a competition for Senegal and Ecuador because they will go physical
They don't
all over.
play. They are happy to give the ball to the other team, so it's for them to score because their possession, even in the winning matches, is less than 50% for Qatar.
Correct. Qatar.
So, anyways, I think it's interesting. I mean, World Cup is an interesting ground for predictions, and we love predictions here. Coming to the predictions for Group E: Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Pretty obvious. Everybody who would want to see them in the this thing, but I would want to ask you the other question: Who is going to top the group?
See, the thing is with Spain is they have good players. Okay, but going before the World Cup, I don't think much players have um, upgraded themselves. Uh, accepting the uh, young players that are in the Spain squad like Gavi and Pedri. Um, Not taking David Daya is a very bad option because the form he is in, he was not selected for it. Um, Germany also under Hansi Flick is a good team, but for the last 2 3 years and Euro 2020 also they did not play well as per the expectations and the team they have. Jamal Musiala will be a very interesting watch because he has
Of
been
course,
selected for the and
of
he has
course.
been playing very well for in Bundesliga as well for Bayern Munich. He has, I guess, total goals plus assists. I guess he have exceeded 20
Yeah,
already.
that's the highest for the age that he's at.
Yes. Costa Rica is a. I've seen nobody watches the South American CONMEBOL because of the timing. Obviously, it's on 4:30 a.m., 5:30 a.m., 7 a.m. when we are starting the day. But
Unless
I've
you're
seen
watching
Costa
Copa America, nobody's
Copa
bothered.
America. No, absolutely, the timing is very bad, and nobody watch. You won't start your day by watching Costa Rica versus Paraguay. So,
Absolutely.
so Costa Rica is a team that uh, is a team that they won't score and they won't let you score. So
Absolutely.
they will go all physical. And South American team by nature they are very aggressive.
Correct.
By nature they're aggressive. So I don't know whether Spain or Germany is ready for that aggressiveness. Though being physical, Costa Rica is a
Especially
team
the
that
kind
will
of Spanish and the German team we have now. If you are talking
yes.
about the team that was there rebuilt around Philip Lahm, from 2006 after Germany exiting in 2006 unexpectedly with the World Cup in Germany. After that, the rebuild that happened with Joachim Low and all, and it was built around Philip Lahm, being the central defensive midfielder and so on and so forth. That kind of physicality we have not seen Germany since Lahm went and a few other guys also went. So I mean, from
Schweinsteiger also.
Schweinsteiger also went. So yes, I agree with you at some level that it is going to be a struggle for this Spanish team. And if you see this Spanish team is a very tiki taka kind of a Spanish team. Of course, Spanish
Technical,
teams are like
technical.
that, but this one actually they might struggle against the physicality.
Exactly. I guess they will Spain. What will they do? They will draw fouls. That's the max they can do, but it won't result in giving you 3 points. It might help to get a draw, but Costa Rica will anyway fight for that 1 point only. But Spain is fighting for 3 points. So there lies the difference.
And what about
So
Japan, the joker in the pack in this group? The
Japan is a very
causer of
interesting.
upsets. I mean, I again go back to the Germany game.
Yes. Japan, I'm not really sure about Japan what they will do. It's a very interesting watch what Japan will do if they somehow if they somehow become the decision maker who will qualify, then it will be very interesting.
Other than them, who will qualify? Then, like how it happened with the Germany game, last game, and in the end, Germany just gave up. They didn't care what happened to the result.
Exactly. It is to draw a cricketing parallel. I would say this would be like if they do that, what we discussed, it will be like that Netherlands and South Africa game. Nobody
Absolutely,
expected South Africa to lose against Netherlands team.
Netherlands.
Then it opened the chance for Pakistan or Bangladesh to qualify. And
Yeah,
then Pakistan qualified and they went to the final.
finals.
So
So
you
yeah,
never know.
absolutely. So your final predictions for Group E: who is going to be number one? Who is going to be number two?
I guess Germany will be topping the group and Spain will be runners up. Costa Rica third, Japan fourth. But you never know.
I think I somehow believe. Of course, the Germans are clinical in the way they go about everything, including football. Four times world champion, Spain only one time world champion. I would give Spain a slightly bit edge in the way they approached Euro last year. Of course, that happened 1 year later. I would give them a slight edge, and I think somehow they might just be a little ahead of Germany, and they might just top the group, and Germany might be second. But I agree with you that despite all the permutations and combinations, this time Germany is not going to let the Japan thing happen to them again, and I think they will pretty much put them to the sword this time. So
Yes.
for me, Spain number one, Germany number two. Coming to Group F, I think there is a team which a lot of us, I think football fans love to watch, and that is Belgium. Um Belgium in the last few years is slowly proving to be the South Africa of football. You know, do you think they will continue to prove to be South Africa of football, or they will actually try and become Australia?
See, for Belgium, the two key players, I would say the 11 players are key, but the two key players who have been phenomenal for the last 2 years are Kevin De Bruyne and Courtois. Kevin De Bruyne leading that Manchester City attack, and the way Courtois has been playing for the last 2 seasons, even the Champions League final, 11 saves in a final, it's not a matter of joke. And he's still performing at that level. Kevin De Bruyne is also performing at that level. There's Thorgan Hazard, and the Belgium team is very good actually. Belgium team is one of the most content teams in this entire 32 teams that are playing in the World Cup. Croatia too. Croatia, I guess they have a golden generation every 4 years, and that is a
Absolutely.
very good boon for them. Like with the golden generation is a mix of the experience and the new blood that are coming. So it's a very
Correct.
good mix and match. The young players are somehow playing. The older players are running the game. They are dictating instructions. They are commenting how to play, how to you know build the attack or stretch the line and all. So Belgium is a very interesting team because they have a good depth in the squad, and the forward 11, the 11 that are playing are very good, and they have been the key players are in currently they are in very good form. So going into the World Cup, they do not have any major injuries, and so like the rest of the teams might have. So I guess Belgium will be very interesting to watch, and I think Belgium will top this group easily with the squad they have.
And
And
Croatia, you
Croatia,
expect them to be second, naturally.
I think so because
Because I don't think
Canada.
beyond a point, Morocco and Canada, I mean, Canada, I think, is the weakest link in the entire 32 nations that I'm seeing here. So I think they're just here to fill the number, unfortunately.
Uh, did Alfonso Davis get selected? He was having an injury. I guess Davis got selected.
Yes, he did.
I'm not. So I don't think Canada have the experience and that flair to compete against Belgium and Croatia. Croatia and Belgium will lead them easily, and Morocco too.
Well, the only
Uh,
thing that I would hope for, Morocco and Canada is that they don't treat Canada like North Korea of what happened to North Korea in that World Cup. Those kind of score lines. That's the only thing I think they would want to save themselves from. So I think, I mean, I my predictions for this group are also the same. I mean, Belgium, I see them topping the group fairly easily. Croatia would be second, and I think it is going to be very very interesting to sort of see who are they going to meet, because that is what is going to set the agenda up, because whoever wins, I think, is going to be meeting either Spain or Germany in the round of 16, because group E and group F are playing together. So
so I guess Belgium, if they top the group and Group A, if Netherlands top, I guess Netherlands will face Belgium.
I will just have to check what's the grid that they have
Uh,
made this time. Usually they have A with B, C with D, E with F, and but the grid that happens after that is different. So it's kind of mixed up. But I think overall, I think we are having the usual suspects, barring one or two teams here and there not making it to the round of 16. So I think the real thing that will get interesting will be the round of 16, and we are going to chat about the group, the final groups, Group G and H, tomorrow. And of course then we'll sort of have all the 16 teams together and perhaps see the grid of who can win the World Cup, as far as the what do you call, the mathematics is concerned, or whatever structuring that we put. But thank you so very much, Vikramjit, for joining us tonight on the Dafa News podcast. And it was lovely to have you and share your thoughts on the football, the beautiful game. And hope to see you again soon on the Dafa News podcast. And
I just want to say one thing. Am I audible?
yeah, yeah,
Just want to say one thing. Like, um, I'll just take a minute. Uh, the One Love campaign that is happening regarding the teams that are showing solidarity with the migrant workers and the LGBTQ community that are facing hardships in Qatar. I guess it's a very good move from a footballing side because football is not limited to just 22 players that are playing on the field. it's much more beyond that. It sends a message. It sends hope to the world. France, not France denying to world to wear the armband, rainbow armband. I guess it's a very uh, it's a bad decision at the last minute. And I guess some nations will wear. I guess Netherlands started this campaign in 2020, so Netherlands is wearing. England is one of the nations that will be wearing. So I guess it's says a lot about the game, the culture it brings to the fans and the persons who people who doesn't watch the game but somehow relates to it. So I guess it's a good campaign, and I hope that uh, Qatar develops and goes beyond these um, you know bigotry thoughts and bigotist thoughts, and I guess they need to have more representation in their country. So hopefully it will all go well, and I hope to see a great World Cup.
Yes, at least we are seeing a World Cup in the winters for the first time ever.
Yes.
It'll be a completely different feeling to watch the game wearing your woolens on. So a lot of things are different about the World Cup. I agree with you, and the game is for everybody. There are 8 billion people in the world, and the game belongs to everybody. And we are expecting this to be the most watched sporting event ever. So the expectation of numbers is around 5 billion. So that's a lot of numbers. And we all hope that, it's a game enjoyed by everybody across the world, because the beautiful game belongs to all the beautiful people in the world. On that very note, Vikramjit, thank you once again for joining us on the DAFA News podcast. It was lovely to have you take your thoughts on the beautiful game, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight and for this edition of the DAFA News podcast. We are going to see you soon again with another edition talking about the rest of the Football World Cup groups that are remaining, and of course, the big one, the route to the final. And before the World Cup starts on Sunday. So keep watching the DAFA News podcast and keep enjoying and liking, sharing, and commenting on what you want to hear from us again. Till then, take care and goodbye.